Lexmoto Venom SK125-22, 12,621 miles, and I'm trying to figure out why my calipers are biting the disc. You could actually hear it. If I, while it's on the center stand, move my front wheel, you could hear it squeaking by quite a lot. So it's biting. I'm gonna try to investigate why this is happening and how I could fix it. What I will do, I will try to take this caliper out and have a look inside. Have a look, maybe some rust. Tools that I'm gonna use is an Allen key and 12-inch spanner. So first, whilst the caliper is still on, I'm just gonna loosen up these, as I don't really want to battle it once they're out of the motorcycle. Just a tiny bit. There you go. Now when these bolts are loosened with the Allen key, I'm going to move on towards these nuts that are holding the whole caliper towards the fork. Alright, so they're a bit on the harder one. Got one loosened. Just gonna use my little helper here. Okay, these two are loosened. Okay, now it's a finger loose, so I can just use my fingers to remove these nuts away. I just want to have a really nice sneak peek inside what's actually going on. Let's have a look. So obviously once I'm going to move that, this hose is attached to the fork as well. I might want to have a little bit more leading. Okay, so now I'm going to use the size 10 to just remove this bolt here. Just gonna put the bolt back inside of the fork so I know where it's meant to go. Okay, let's move the caliper now. Wow, very dirty. So as you see, there is a lot of dirt in here. There is rust and the actual clamping mechanism. Let's clean that out. These two bolts are holding my brake pads together. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take them out. Another bolt out, caliper fold out as well. As you see, my brake pads are quite nice and decent. So it's not a brake pads that is in the question. It's obviously all this. Now when I took my brake pads out, you could really see how rusted it is. And this is what is actually stops from working properly. As you can see, my clamps are very rusted, so I'm gonna try to do my best to clean it. Let's pump it up my brake. So by pressing the brake, you can really see my things are moving up. Alright, let's put a slightly bigger tool in. That should do the trick. There you go, and now I can pump it up another one. So, now it's maxed out to the top, and you can really see that the quality of the calipers are quite poor. I mean, the rust on the top, it's not just rust, it's a corrosion. So all we're gonna try to do, we're just gonna try to clean out all this rust around here and see how my caliper is gonna work a tiny bit better. So unfortunately, as my calipers are so rusted and all, seems like the best amount so far is a really fine sandpaper to just to scrape a very tip of it where the corrosion is at its highest. For expensive bikes, you're really not meant to damage the surface of caliper clampers. It's meant to be as smooth as possible. As it is a very cheap bike, it seems that they made these clamps out of steel and just chromed them for the smoothness. So in this matter, this will get rusted quite quickly. So I'm not surprised that my calipers rusted so badly. And as you could kind of see, the sandpaper seems like a nightmare thing to use for this kind of type of work, but as it is really fine, it actually does take all the rust and corrosion away very, very well. But then again, let's judge from the final product. I'm just saying, so far this is the best way for me to take that out. Alright, so I've done as best as I could job with sandpaper, essentially scrubbing every single rust away from the corners. Now I'm going to use my choke and carb cleaner just to sort of break any excess away. Right, now I'm gonna just use the standard sponge to try to clean a little bit around any excess dirt around the caliper. So we can see the better picture what I've been left with to deal with. Right. So as you could really tell, the picture isn't pretty. We have some sorts of chrome paint on the top of it, just the standard steel bar, cheap caliper, standard issues. But let's see if that's gonna help for my front brake, at least for now, to work better. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use a tiny bit of my chain lube that's left to lubricate the calipers. I just believe that will help me essentially to close them a little bit easier. And now this is the major question, is how to push this back. It is hard, but it is going. So just managed to push one in with my fingers. Try another one. Wow, really tough. I'll use that. that seems like working. So what I'm essentially doing right now is I'm putting my pliers in between the caliper and just using a force of this metal to help me to push that caliper down. Wow, that was hard. Just want to have a look at these bolts. They're a bit rusted as well. Just gonna grab a tiny bit of a sandpaper, take this rust away. Alright. Alright, so now I've scraped a tiny bit of rust away. As you can see, again, it's just the paint steel. So they will rust quite quickly. To prevent that rust, I'm just gonna spray a tiny bit with this carb cleaner, which is evaporating quite quickly. And afterwards, I'm gonna one more time use my leftover chain lube just to get that tiny bit of lubrication so it slides in quite nicely in the caliper. Right, now that when this all done, let's try to put those brake pads back inside. Alright, let's grab my caliper. Alright, let's put this brake pad in. Okay, now when the brake pad's in, I'll put these bolts back inside. Alright, so the bolts are in, brake pads are there. Let's start these bolts up. I'm going to use my Allen tool to do that. Okay, so bolts are inside. Let's put this caliper back in where it's supposed to go. Alright, so now it's back into the place. What I'm gonna do first, I reckon, is I gonna put these bolts back inside just a little bit with the finger so it will hold my caliper, stop sliding everywhere. Really? Alright, now I could move on to this bolt, attach it back where it was before. Nice and tight, not too tied up. Let's move on to these bolts. Now, just tighten them up with my fingers. Use a 12mm spanner. Okay. Now the whole caliper is back into place. The goal time is to check or is working as it's supposed to. I'm gonna lift my motorcycle a bit, spin around. So I could feel a tiny bit of a grip, but it's not as much as it was before. It does make that horrible squeaky noise. Let's test it. Okay, I'm pumping my brake. Now, so if I press my brake, it grips nicely. Release the brake. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a beauty? Yay, working caliper is supposed to be. Okay, so the back caliper is completely different ball game. By looking at the wheel, the way the caliper is attached, you could see that there is no outside screws or bolts to take the caliper away, apart from the whole metal piece that the caliper is holding on to. That seems this only could be taken away once you remove the wheel. Now, not everybody would like to mess around with the wheel, and I fully understand that. Especially as I just changed the back tire. It's been told that it's meant to be a 90 newtons to do this particular bolt up, so it doesn't overstretch the, well, does not, so it doesn't overstretch the actual bolt and is not loose enough for it to fall out while you're driving. So how I'm gonna try to overcome this, I just gonna try to spray a tiny bit of a cleaner and see what I can reach it there into that gap where the actual caliper is there. See, maybe I can take some of that rust away.